Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of CLX Foundry Live, where we dive deep into somebody's build and figure out how we're going to put it together from the ground up. I'm your host, DJ Blue PDX, and joining me live from our studios in Wichita, Kansas, is none other than our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and today's other married man, it's Zach Hillingsworth. Hello!
Hi!
Sir, who now has family and wifeage.
Oh, yes.
There we go. But how was it?
Very fun. Very nice. Beautiful. Outdoors in the woods.
Oh, that sounds fun. That sounds amazing. You know what else sounds amazing? Winning a free PC. So let's talk about that, because I know a bunch of you are going to ask a whole bunch of questions all day long. And so here we go. We're going to start with this, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, look, if you see this beautiful thing we did with AORUS and our friends over at Beacon, along with AData, Intel, and Gigabyte, this is something you could win. Typing exclamation giveaway in the chat gets you the opportunity to check out the link and go and pop yourself a little opportunity to get yourself a win on this thing. Now, there's a thing that we call codes. It's not a trick word. It's just extra entries based on codes. Now, you can find these codes in various different places. You can find them on our socials at CLX Gaming. That's YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. You can find them sometimes in our Discord, discord.gg/CLX Gaming. On Tuesdays, like today, you can find them on the green side of where we broadcast, and that is kick.com/CLX Gaming. And on Thursdays, you can find them over on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/CLXgamingtv, except not this Thursday because we're not airing this Thursday. So I'll give out a code on, you can also get on my channel. That's not important. But I'll give out a code on Thursday, since we won't be doing a show on Thursday because our media team is heading right on down to a huge event happening in Dallas, Texas, and it's DreamHack Dallas. It's going to be happening down there, and if you can find our staff members, you make sure that you ask Ivory for hugs first, and then Ivory's not going to be there. Oh wait, you know what? Just hug everybody else who's there. Find Jason, help him hold his camera. That's what you can do. So, with that being said, we've got a fun little project with a motherboard that you build a giveaway. That is similar to this one. We're going to do this for Emmanuel in California. So, guys, what do we do?
So, Emmanuel has configured a Horus off our website. So, starting out with the processor, we've got an Intel Core i5-13600KF. To cool that, we've got a CLX Quench 360 AIO in white. This is the new version with the RGB cap. For our motherboard, we've got the Gigabyte Z790 AORUS Elite AX Ice. Really nice motherboard for this build. It's going to match the color scheme well. For our memory, we have 2 sticks of XPG 16GB DDR5 6000 speed in white RGB. And then for our storage option, we have a Samsung 2TB 990 EVO M.2 NVMe drive. For our video card, we've got an MSI RTX 4060. This is the Ventus 2X in white, so staying on theme with the color of the build. And we've got 8 of our Intermax 120 fans. We probably used these on the show a long time ago, but it's definitely been a while since we've had them. So these are white, they do have RGB, they look great. And for our power supply, we have a Game DS Helios 850 watt 80 plus gold power supply.
Nice. Now, there's going to be an opportunity or a chance, potentially, possibly, perhaps, that some or one or some or more of you may hear things that are mentioned using language that you may not understand. And that's legitimate because these guys are highly educated in the world of computer stuff, and I'm highly educated in the world of how to be confused. So if you've got questions, please understand there's probably somebody else in the group that's got questions, and your question may just be something that somebody else might not have been brave enough to ask. So ask away. We love answering your questions and helping out. I can see everybody over on the Twitter side. I refuse to call it X. I see the green people. Hello, greenies. I see all the purples. Survivors in the house. Firecracker. Mr. Ant 13. Hello, hello, hello. We've also got people over here on the blue side. Anthony LaRue is back. What up? How are you? And then, of course, we've got Kalamanji on our TikTok, and welcome in, everybody. So glad to have you all here. Now, for those of you who did see our show when we built our giveaway machine, this is going to be kind of a familiar motherboard, but let's explain why. It's got the same, it's the same motherboard, but some of you might not have been here to see it, so we're going to talk a little bit about this motherboard, and it's gorgeous. Now, this is a Z790 Elite. This is an AXI, so an XI. Now, I believe the AX is in reference to the board size, correct? But what's really great about this is, unlike every other motherboard I've ever seen, the PCB, the printable control board, printable circuit board, that's what it's called, it's great. Look at this. Absolutely incredible. It fits the theme so well. Oh my gosh. I wished, listen. Team up, fight on, let's go. Now, I'll tell you what is really great about this. Look at that, all of the heat shielding. It's so brilliant to look at, and you can really see your actual plugins a lot easier. A person is going to get something that has a white power, white cabling. But the first thing I want to point out is what's going on in the back panel of this. AORUS, especially on their Elite Editions, do not shy away from incredible opportunities for all sorts of things that you can connect. So let's start at the very top. We've got our 4 USB 2.0 ports down below there. Obviously, our Wi-Fi antennas and our reset antenna. Then below there, we've got our number of select 3.2 Gen 1 ports. And then we've got below there, obviously, HDMI, not DVI, good Lord. DisplayPort. Then below that, we've got a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A and a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C, which means you've got, and that's a 2x2, so you've got 10 up, 10 down. That's a lot of gigs in a lot of places, going in a lot of directions. Below that, we've also got our RGB, which I believe is a 10 gig. 2.5 gig. It's there we go. It's a Dragon port. And it's a 2.5 gig LAN port. Plus, we've got 2 more of our USB 3s down below there, and then you've got your audio and your, which, some people use, some people don't. But the thing that this board is going to use, it's going to use the processor that Emmanuel decided to choose, and that is going to be something quite impressively powerful. It is the Intel Core i5 13600KF. Paul, what's cool about this board?
Yes, this is a 14-core, 20-thread processor, so it's broken down into performance cores and efficiency cores. It's got a base speed of 3.5, and it will boost up to 5.1. This is a really awesome gaming processor here. It's going to be able to run everything really great at high frame rates and resolutions.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to move my mic away from now so I don't, there we go. Alrighty, now as we're building some things in here, hopefully if it's it won't be clipping in a moment. Is it still clipping there, Jason? Well, I feel like for some reason today I'm very loud. I can bring it down a little bit. There we go. How's that? Is that better? Testing. Right, there we go. Now, obviously, we can see that Zach is screwing some things into the board itself. Now, these are part of the mountings for our AIO. Hey, Paul, what the heck is an AIO?
So an AIO stands for all-in-one, and we're talking about the liquid cooler here. So this comes straight out the box just like this. It's already got coolant inside of it. Typically it's going to come with 4 sets of hardware for the different sockets on motherboards. So you just make sure you grab the right socket, install the hardware like Zach's doing right now, and you're good to go.
Alrighty. Now, speaking of things that are good to go, I do want to point something out because I did see a couple comments on it, so I just want to make sure we're all clear. Today's codes are part of the CLX code group, and this is what it means. It means that our codes will either start with HCLX, CRBN, or BMIC. BMIC, Carbon, or Hello CLX. That's the way I like to look at it. The AORUS codes will be given out by AORUS. I'm gonna guess that's probably why we call them AORUS codes. In case somebody's wondering, and there you go. Derek Venable is here over on the blue side. What up, dog? How are you, Bubba?
Hello, Derek.
Good to see you, my man. Good to see you indeed.
Guten Morgen.
Yes, yes, sir. Ultimate Mag says, would love to win a giveaway soon. Got our 2nd anniversary coming up. Wife loves gaming. That is awesome. Listen, gaming families, raving families, love it. I love it. Survivor said we just had an E3 15 minutes for me in Southern Illinois. Oh God, hope you're all right. Yeah, there's been a lot over the weekend. This holiday weekend was kind of wild. I know it was different, especially for Paul and I, because we're both, you know, former military. But man, the storms were just nuts. I could not believe it, and I'm really glad everybody's okay. AORUS codes are legend, and they're likely unicorn-like. Listen, you're not wrong at all. James Alcott over on the red side. Hello, 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 hello. How are you? What's going on, my dude? No structural damage, but a bunch of trees are messed up. Yeah, I hear you on that one. We're very, very lucky. That's one of the reasons why I like living in Portland, Oregon, and that is that it is. I'm trying to dox myself, but we don't get in crazy, like ridiculously absurd weather one side or the other. Like, if it gets super hot, it's hot for like a week or two here. If it gets super cold, it's cold for like a week or two. Otherwise, it just sits in that mid-range, and there's no real lunacy unless you go into downtown, and that's all different. Lurking and working? Yes, sounds like a good plan. Uh-oh. Scott, okay, I'm going to say this and pray to God I don't screw it up. Skyanawa, or Skyana, ooh. I see Alex BC, just power surge, waiting to hear from the tech support what took a hit. Ah, yes. On a surge protector and no backup, sadly. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I was very glad when we were able to incorporate, because my housemate, I have a studio here, my housemate has a studio here. So I do broadcasting and obviously music production. He is a glass artist when he's not being a doctor. And so we were able to actually get through the insurance company for protection, because it's like, hey, we'll help you with this because it's easier than just dealing with claims. And so we got a battery backup for the house, which I didn't even think was a thing at all.
I didn't know that. It's got to be a big battery.
It's a big box. It's a big box that just sits and hums in the laundry room, and I just don't address it. The one thing that I will address today is that we are going to be putting in a hard drive in here. And so far, we're going to be dumping in wait a minute, where is it? There we go. A 2 terabyte Samsung 990 Pro. This is what I have in mind running my operating system, which is fantastic. Now, this chassis, obviously, it is our Horus NV5. It's a mid-tower in white, so it has the option for even more memory, even more drive space. But 2 terabytes, that's 2,000 gigs. That should be pretty good. Now, I see yes, Zach is being very specific about making sure all the little labels and plastic come off, because you don't want it to get awkward.
Yeah, under these M.2 slots, typically on the thermal pad that's under it and the one on the heatsink, there's going to be like a thin plastic film. You definitely want to make sure you get that off before you install this.
Yes, absolutely. Otherwise, things will smell weird and it's just going to get awkward. Okay. Words are hard. Listen. Words are very hard.
That's how that works?
That's how
push it down.
these
no
guys
swivel
are.
tab. Wow.
Wait, what?
This has the spring release one, so clip.
Ah! Dude, that's cool.
Clip.
I dig it. I dig it. And they got their little extended intro on the on your graphics card clip. I remember when it used to be that the PCIe graphics card was at the bottom because it was an AGP. And AGP, APG.
AGP. Yep.
It was an AGP, right. That little short brown one, and it was always the bottom. Now we're like the prioritization has come to the top, but we're not going to be able to really deal with the prioritization at the top until we address what we're going to be ramming into this board. And for RAM, we've got two 16 gig sticks of ADATA DDR5 6000 for a total of 32 gigs. It's 2-channel, and you can put that right there. It is going to blend in beautifully with this board, especially with that black so the white PCB, which is super incredible. I'm excited for other manufacturers to start trying that. Alrighty, now comes our fans. Now for the fans in this, we've got 8 different Enermax HF120 fans. Paul, why are these fans different and cool at the same time, but also why are they special?
So these are a fan that we've had for a long time, but we don't see that much use of them. Now these are a really solid performing fan. I really like these. I use these in the build before my previous one. They've got some good RGB elements, but these fan blades have a different kind of design on them to help move air. And then on the end we've got our traditional 4-pin fan header for power, and then a 3-pin for RGB.
Nice, nice. Now, we do have a couple questions coming in, and one of them is from Ron Newman over on the blue side. Is it worth upgrading the Ethernet card or an Asus Prime X670p ATX board? Is it going to be fine? I think the Asus Primes are all, what, 2.5, 10?
Yeah, bare minimum, you're going to have a 1. You might even have 2 on there, but if, like DJ saying, if you got a single one, it's probably a 2.5. I wouldn't worry about upgrading your Ethernet card or adding an Ethernet card to that build. Anything on these current motherboards, that's the built-in LAN port is already so fast, you really shouldn't need one unless you have a special use case for it.
I'll just be honest, I'm looking at it for you just to make sure that I can see what we have got, what the text pack said. It is a 10 gig Ethernet port, so you should be just fine. Yeah, you should be good on that board. Cute board too. Alrighty, now I do know we've had some other questions coming in. Yeah, Derek mentions a lot of crazy weather around there. So you got battery backup. Yeah, well, and the thing is with battery backups, there was more reason than just the computers in the house to do it, because if Kevin's running, my housemate, is doing well, basically, if he's got anything in the kilns, if the kilns just shut off, it can not only shock damage the artwork, it can also damage the internal coils on the kilns. So this allows them to just power down at their quickly, but that's what that battery is for. So it's like, I'm like, hey, while you got that, can we plug that into mine too? That'd be grand. Alrighty, now we are ready to go for our big old box. This, of course, is a Horus NV5. It is the little sibling to the NV7 that we all know and love, which is huge. Now, I will say this, speaking of things that are huge, you know what else is huge? The fact that we got Ivory giving out codes, and this code is HCLX-BN9F. That is a Bravo, November at 9er Frank. So, or BNF Railroads with a 9, the BN and the F. So, bring not. There's your Shakespeare version. There we go. So we got one code coming in. Hashim, welcome. Welcome, my friend.
What up, Hashim?
Good to have you in the house.
What's happening?
Who mine is? Hold on. Well, let me see what I can come up with.
It's all those solar flares from the tornadoes.
Is that better? At all? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. All right. Not sure what was happening, but see, this is what we call troubleshooting. It's what? It's still doing it? Oh, okay. Got it. Let's see here. Yep, there we go. Hashim's got it correctly. Cage Proto coming in and saying, hello. Check into a generic gas generator on your home. Yeah, generic natural gas generator. James Olcott, actually, so, and this is, like, Jason and I were both, Jason's in production, obviously he's our producer and everybody. So, when we were at, gosh, was it Dallas or Atlanta that we teamed up with that company? Furman, yes. And they actually make a natural gas, just like you mentioned, a natural gas generator. We have natural gas. So when we lost our power for like, I don't know, a week during the ice storm that happened here, it couldn't do anything. But that
was the best.
The gas worked. So I was able to cook still. But if we'd have been able to turn that into an ability to generate power, that would have been fantastic. And a heck of a lot cheaper than if you've just got a gas powered, like an actual gas powered, which is nuts.
Well, just cut down a tree and just stick a 3-foot log in the middle of your living room. That'll heat up the room real nice. Stick a couple of floor tiles underneath it so it doesn't catch the house on fire. You're good.
Something says that a
outdoor fireplace.
You gotta make sure you have a dirt
With
floor.
With a 115-year-old house, I'm pretty sure the laughing plaster will just melt.
This isn't Valheim. We know the rules. We can build fire wherever we want.
I'm not sure what kind of Minecraft world you think we live in there, bud. However,
we've been big on the Valheim recently, so.
Oh, that's amazing. Welcome in everybody who's coming in over on the TikTok. I see everybody's popping in the channel. Hello. Does his wife know what she's gotten herself into? Yes. Yes. She's well aware.
She teaches 4-year-olds how to be adults.
Yeah. Which means Zach is in good hands.
He's prepped.
The only day I have to compete with is Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And every year there's at least one or two that, put up a good fight, but not good enough.
You gotta go into class and be like, hey now, you guys calm down with those Valentine's gifts.
I meet them out at the flagpole.
Yeah.
You can't give one to my wife. Or I will personally kick inflatable soccer balls at you. Please don't kick inflatable soccer balls.
Nah, I'll get them sidewalk chalk and they'll get distracted immediately.
There you go,
yeah. That's... So we have a thing in Portland called the Rose Festival because, despite the fact we're the rose capital of the country, but the Rose Festival happens here. It's a giant event. It's weeks long. There's carnivals and just parades and things. And so tomorrow is what's known as starts the beginning of Fleet Week.
Nice.
And the Children's Parade. Now, the Children's Rose Festival Parade is basically middle school and high school kids that all come down. And guess where that goes? Right by my house.
Yeah.
1 block away, which means the dogs are going to lose their minds. But yeah, Fleet Week's happening this week. We've got a bunch of the Navy ships coming in. I've got a bunch of my old crewmates that are going to be popping in, surprisingly enough, which is really cool. So, and it's going to be awesome because I'm DJing this weekend. So I get to say hi and show them, look, I did something with my life. I became a reasonable adult. That's a lie, but I can at least continue saying it and hope that
someone will believe you.
You hate parades. Listen, Violent Echo, honestly, I used to love parades, and then I started losing my patience for people and their poorly monitored offspring.
Yeah, I'm with Violent Echo on this. I haven't liked parades even as a kid.
Yeah.
It's like, this is too long for a couple Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah. Oh, you were a school bus driver for the Waukesha Christmas parades? Oh, my God. Good Lord. Yeah, parades are an interesting thing. I know that it's great for community building and blah, blah, blah. But, Yeah, not really my shtick anymore. You still washing
They're fine.
Washing my face. What do you mean?
Would we say they are outdated? Like they were a time period
feels a little bit like that.
I mean,
yeah.
I think they're great for kids because the kids love them. But I don't have kids. I don't really. If I'm gonna go down there, it is. There's got to be a bar involved.
Instead of throwing out candy, they're throwing out those like single shot
airplane
liquor bottles.
shooters.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Oh, here's the funny thing is for a ball joke from last week. Oh yes, that ball joke. Yes, Wisconsin sausage. Yes, and I already did that this morning. Now the funny thing is at Halloween, my housemate and I decided we're just gonna be jerks. I would use a different word, but we're on stream, and we're gonna just do full-size candy bars and advertise it, full-size candy bars at our house, and then we get probably 40 or 50 of the little airplane bottles of different things, and then that is for the parents. Mm-hmm. You gotta walk around. You gotta walk around on Halloween. Here you go. Have fun. Be responsible. Oh God, Violent Echo, you were involved in that? Yeah, we had that happen in Portland. That's yeah. Where's the sexy long hair guy? Well, he's right there. He just got a crop top there. A little bit of a trim up. Best treats ever. Yes. Yes, McGee, I agree. McGee, what's up, my dude? Good to see you. McGee's one of my fellow zombie hunters. We love ourselves some Dying Light, that's for sure. James Alcott's like, I don't have to worry. I don't have to do anything about Valentine's Day. I'm single and ain't looking. So you see, James Alcott, that's what we call Singles Awareness Day. And I love to say, when it's time for that day to come around, happy, sad. When you're celebrating sad and you're happy, well, that means you don't have to worry about breakups in a restaurant in the middle of one of the most stressful holidays known to the couple kind. But for us, Singles Awareness Day can be a bastion of opportunity and a great moment for hilarious entertainment if you just go and sit at a bar in a restaurant and watch the chaos ensue. It's hilarious, and I now sound like a horrible person. There we go. Time to stop sharing so much. Who's got questions about the bills? Bring it. Bring it. Yes, he did get a trim. All right, so speaking of things we're plugging in that board. Obviously, we got that down onto the standoffs. We've got the fans up on the top. One thing to note is that this case is fun because it's more of like a 3/4 instead of a 2/3, more of a 3/4 build, which means that the board doesn't sit directly on the back. You can see that. Oh my God, my chair just moved. You can see that angle where the white grommets are. Paul could point those out real fast, or somebody. Yep. See that angle? How it kind of gives a little space. So what that means that there's going to be a gap behind the motherboard within the case where it makes for easier cable management. Now, Paul, why is that important? How does that help your build if that's where it's at?
Yeah. So typically, with these grommets, this is allowing us to hide these cables a little bit better and not just have holes in here. And then with the case being this way, we've got a lot of room back behind the motherboard right here for hard drives, 2.5-inch drives, our fan controller box if we have one, anything extra in the build that we need to kind of tuck away and hide. There's a good panel for that right there.
Nice. Now, it also helps when it comes to airflow, which is one of the reasons why we've got a power supply shroud down below. How does that work?
So this power supply shroud is this piece right here. You can see we've got like an RGB light coming down here for some nice aesthetics. And what that does is give the power supply its own compartment. So our power supply is going to be bringing air in from the bottom right here and exhausting it out the back. So not only is it getting its own fresh airflow, but none of the heat from that power supply is going to be in the main body of the case. They don't generate a lot of heat, but anything we can do to lower it is always good.
Finally gave in, asks, are y'all going to Computex? I would love to know what the heck Computex even is.
I think we usually have a presence there, but I'm not sure on that.
We give out presents there?
Our presence is the present.
There we go. Got it. Making sure.
Yeah.
It's in Taiwan. Oh, that's why I know that name, because Media is usually there. Gotcha. Oop, there we go. Fixing that. So, yeah, I don't think that any of us will be there, personally.
Yeah, fidget spinners.
Yeah.
All right, now we're getting all of our fan plugs backed in. Again, these are going to run a little bit differently than what we've had in the past when we used the Game DS. These are really great fans. I love them, and I love the way they light up. They've got some really cool tricks to them. Another thing that's really tricky when it comes to PCs, figuring out how much power you're going to need, and for that, we are going to be putting an 850-watt Game DS Helios P2 850G 80+ gold power supply. Now, obviously, we talk a lot about this in the show, but there's always that person who may not know about it. So, Paul, what the heck does it mean to be 80+ gold? And are there other ways to be 80+?
All right, so yeah, it's a good question. So the 80+ is an efficiency rating that you'll see on a ton of power supplies. Now, a bunch of weird, obscure brands might not have them, and I'd stay away from those. But what that 80+ means is to get just a base 80+ efficiency rating, the power supply's got to be 80% efficient at 3 different loads. Now, typically that can be anywhere from 10 to 20% to 50% to 100%. And then as you go up from 80+ base to bronze, silver, gold, platinum, titanium, it gets more and more efficient. So I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but let's just say 80% efficient to 82, 84, and on up.
There we go. Lots of fun stuff. The one cool thing about these power supplies is they come in different styles and kinds and different functionalities. So this, however, is different than the other two. Paul, run us through all 3 of the designs that power supplies come in.
Yes, this is a non-modular design power supply. So you can see all of our cables are right here, and they come pre-soldered into the power supply. So we can't remove any of these cables. You definitely don't want to snip these off if you're not using them or anything like that. So what we'll do is we'll get these all entangled. We'll plug in the ones that we need, and then the rest we will bundle up nicely and tuck away under the power supply shroud.
So when it comes to one of the things that it does when it comes to is taking a look at different ways power supplies can be used and different reasons why you want to do it. For this, because Manuel had been so specific about getting a very, very white internal build, the only change that I personally might have made was to have gone with a system that could possibly take in cable mods.
Yeah, cable mod kit.
White cable mods on this would have looked wicked.
Yeah, that is a nice finishing touch to a build right there. Those cables are nice.
I know I love mine. All right. Now, Zach, when it comes to putting these fans in, obviously you have each manufacturer has a different style with the way they connect. So what's different about this than other fans?
So these are kind of what I would call a base level fan, where we don't have any proprietary clips. These can literally plug into any motherboard across any platform. We're rocking straight 4-pin fan headers, and then 3-pin RGBs. So for literally 98% of the motherboards out on the market today, we would be able to plug every fan in on to them. And then some like starter motherboards don't have RGB, so that's where our RGB wouldn't be able to get plugged in on those starter boards, but pretty much every board above that we would be able to. So these are pretty much like fault-proof fans because they don't have any proprietary clips. With that, we also don't have a hub. So these are all getting plugged directly into the motherboard. So that is where we would want to make sure that we have enough headers or daisy chains to daisy them together.
Gotcha. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, now we're getting all of these around there. And as we're doing that, I'm sure that Paul already knows exactly what you're going to have to use, have to get, and have to tie up for that power supply. Now, one cool thing about the MV5s that we absolutely love is the fact that Fantex puts on the back Velcro ties. And these Velcro ties are wicked. Absolutely love them. So much fun. They make things a lot easier. When it comes to tie-ups, how are those useful in organization and the build-out?
Yeah, so with these right here, you can see we still like using zip ties. It just makes it look a little bit more clean and more professional. But even when we have these zip ties, we will still use these Velcro straps to kind of organize our sets of cables. So if you had an NV5 at home and you're not wanting to mess with zip ties, those Velcro connectors are going to do fine. You know, don't feel like you have to use the zip ties or anything like that, but they're really nice for separating out the sections of your cables.
And then you want to put cables in what kind of direction? Like, is there a specific group of cables that you always feel the need to attach to each other? Are there, so that you have a grouping, or?
So typically your 24 pin for your motherboard is going to come through near the top, because that's right where your 24 pin is located on your motherboard. And our CPU is obviously in the top right there, where kind of Zach's, you know, to the right of where Zach's working at. So those are pretty much set in place. That's why we've got these Velcro straps on this side for our CPU cables. So with our 24 pin though, this is where we'll kind of run typically our SATA from our power supply. Usually in most cases there's a SATA connector that needs plugged in, so we can kind of group those together. And then if we need to run any through, we can use this bottom grommet and still keep the body of the cables in this same area.
Nice. Awesome. There we go. It's like braiding hair. I mean, I wouldn't know, but I'm assuming.
We could do that.
I don't know how to do braids. I'm gonna have to learn that though for my girls.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to learn to do braids, French braids.
My oldest just wants us to
tie-ups.
shave her head. I'm like, no, we can't do that yet. When you're older, you can decide
It's so
that.
much.
My youngest
Life is
all
so much
about it.
easier that way.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I'll say this in defense of your daughter. If she wants to shave her head, understand how much you are going to be saving in hair product.
True.
Mousse, gel, pomades, shampoos, conditioners.
I'm gonna pitch this to my wife
detanglers,
now.
iron, like flat iron.
I've been going over the
It's
books.
not like she's
We
gonna
can
go
save.
bald.
Yeah,
You
in
know.
this family, we shave our heads now. We'll shave $86 a month, and we'll all shave our
Yeah.
heads together on Sundays. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad the audience couldn't hear that comment. Wow. All right.
Oh yeah, lady. That's
Yeah.
I knew, Lady Death. I know that's exactly what would happen with her.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And she regretted it. Well, and see, that's the thing, is you got to let kids make that jump of like, all right, I'm doing something extreme because I want my independence. And then when they do it, sit there, watch, and yeah, they'll realize, hey, maybe I should think more about these things at some point in time, somehow, somewhere. But also, that's the fun of being a kid. Yeah, but hair can regrow. Hair will always grow back. Well, I mean, at that age, hair grows back. Other people's age, it just tends to mock me incredulously by growing on the side of my ear or something weird where nobody asked for it, and it serves no purpose. Yeah. By the way, how long is your oldest daughter's hair?
So we keep it. We cut it pretty. My wife cuts it for her pretty short, so it's just above shoulder length. It's really cute, but she won't ever let us like put it up. She's very tomboyish. You know, for Christmas she wants Hot Wheels and remote control cars, and then our youngest wants you to put like 8 hair ties in her hair at all times. So we got kind of polar opposites between the two.
Well, there you go. The real nobody, do you have a head bump from the headset after the streaming so long? Nope. Nope, not at all. So first of all, I put it right. I don't wear my headphones on top of my head like this. I prefer them back on the crest right there for two reasons. One, because it reminds me of the way that the headsets worked for the people in the Codown Armada during the last Starfighter. Anybody who knows what that is, you are old, and so am I. But the other reason is because you don't have, now this is coming from my background in naturopathic medicine and massage therapy, you have less impressionable flesh here on the top back corner than you do here, right? But here's the thing, it won't compress. All you have to do is leave the headphone off for 15 minutes because you have such consistent blood flow through your scalp and through the surrounding membranes that are between your skull and your brain. Like, it pops back up all the time. It's easy peasy. Now, people who are adamant that my hair doesn't even part right anymore, well, guess what? Stop wearing it so tight, because a lot of people will just cram it down like, I want it like this. I want it like basically duct tape it to my head. Well, yeah, of course, then you're going to have some weirdness. But if you have headphones that actually compress sideways instead of hold top down, it's going to squeeze to your ears and not squeeze to your skull. I just went way too overboard on that.
But they're called skull crushers for a reason.
True.
That is true. That is true. Like, there's no candy in skull candy. Ow. Let's see. When it comes to cooling, I hear water cooling is great, but the risk of it breaking is terrifying. No? Domino effect? Absolutely not. You know who's going to tell you all about that is our friend, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul.
So water cooling is the best way to cool your CPU. You don't really have to worry about it breaking. I mean, and I've been doing this for almost a decade now, and I've maybe seen 5 or less AIOs leak, and usually when they do, it's just a couple drops. Obviously, it's really scary to think about it just pouring fluid all over your system, but that just doesn't happen. And if it does, it's okay. It's a mess, and you got to clean it, but typically everything will still work afterwards. So I would definitely go with an AIO.
Yeah. One is overcompensating for the other? Yes, possibly. Well, I mean, I see what you mean there. Yeah, it's bullying that comes with the bald look. I mean, don't get me wrong, that is a huge... from a...
Thank you.
Yeah.
You bring up a very valid point, Hashib. God, I don't know how we got into this topic, but we're going to go ahead and tackle it real quick. The bullying aspect is something that's very important for parents to consider. Like, you got to consider, listen, as much as we want to, I say this from the perspective of a former nanny, not from an actual parent. My people don't get pregnant. The big issue is safeguarding your child from the potential for social backlash. But fierce independence and self-confidence is that counterbalance. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally.
And then, of course, Ivory sends out a code that is for only with people with hair. Fine. Okay, if you have my hairline, you can't use this. Everybody else gets it. CRBN, that's carbon with no vowels, 24HK, 24 Kilo, Hotel Kilo. There we go. That is CRBN, 24HK. Good grief. Do. And there we go. Now, this is a little bit of a different type of fan control that we got going on here. So what makes this different than, say, the ones we get with Game Dias?
So Game Dias can be plugged into a hub, whereas with these guys, I'm using 3 fan daisies to connect our 3 fan runs together and plug those into a header. And then our base fans on top and bottom are plugged directly into a header. And then what this contraption is all of the sweet 3-pin RGBs that get plugged into the case. So this is my way of making 3-pin RGB cables not come unplugged while they're hanging around in the back of the case.
Yeah, if you've ever worked with 3-pin
Gotcha.
RGB connectors, they really like to come out. Some 4-pins do as well. Like you can kind of see as Zach was getting those ones taken care of, the main one came unplugged, which obviously that happens. We will handle that, but it just kind of shows it's like any slight little pressure can cause them to come unplugged. So it's kind of frustrating to work with, honestly.
One might
You're like,
say
"Can y'all
a
stop?"
con to 3 pins over having a nice system that you can plug everything right directly into.
It's like, can we just get a locking tab or something? That would be great.
Right, there you go. Let's see here. So, do they have a special toolkit or just separate tools? If you do use a kit, what's the name?
For
Yeah, in reference for 3-pin versus 4-pin.
okay, so those are different headers. Do you want to go over that, or would you like?
Yeah, so with RGB, you're going to have typically a 3-pin and a 4-pin. Actually, I've got a spare fan up here. We can just go to overhead real quick. I will point it out. Ooh. So RGB, let me get this up here. This is our RGB connector that you saw Zach plugging in. So this is just a cover on it. I'll take this off. So either on your motherboard, you're going to have a male connector. So that's where this part would go in. Now this is obviously a 3-pin because you can count 3 pins and 3 holes. So a 4-pin is going to look exactly like this. Just where that gap is, there's going to be a 4th one. So that's just what we're talking about there. So no special tools or anything. They just go in together. But typically you're going to want to secure them together somehow. Now sometimes you get lucky and you'll feel like a tight connection. Most of the time it's not that way. So you could use like electrical tape, or we like using zip ties on the big chunks to hold them together.
There we go.
And 4 pins are directional, so if you do get 4 pins in, you are plugging those in. Be sure that you match sides up, because if you don't, you will be applying 12 volts of power to
You might be smelling something.
to something that isn't supposed to have 12 volts going through it.
So McGee actually clarified what the question was, and that is he meant screwdrivers, cutters, or other tools. I actually have what I call my PC surgery kit, and it's specifically all the little tiny types of screw heads that you might find in any type of electronic. I've used it for fixing everything from DJ gear to lights, you name it, we got it. Now Zach and Paul are much more adept at all those type of things. What do you guys use?
Yeah, so for me to build 99% of PCs, you need a regular Phillips screwdriver. If you got an M.2, you need a number 1 Phillips, and then some wire cutters. Now we have a whole bunch of different kinds of snips we use, but anything like these diagonal cutters right here, these work great, and that's pretty much it. Zach builds a lot more than I do though, so he's got a really good kit on his side.
I like having the LTT driver because it allows me to carry the Philips Head 1 and my Philips Head 2, and I can carry a whole bunch of other stuff for doing server work or laptop work or little Nook work. So it just makes it very helpful. And then I carry a flashlight and a 3H extension, and then I also have a super long driver because you never know when you might need to get into really deep spots.
Deep thoughts.
Yeah, those long screwdrivers can really come in handy, actually. That's the one that
you just sit
I've
there
got
and ponder, how am I going to build this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Why are
That's
we
my
building
favorite
this?
thing is the fact that you've got this all mounted on a Han Solo style strap on to your leg.
Shot first.
That is right. That's phenomenal. Like every time I've ever seen it, I was like, this is cool. You know what else is really cool? The MSI GeForce RTX 4060 Ventus 2 times with 8 gigabytes of RAM. There's a segue for you. There we go. This is the new 4060 Ventus from our friends over at MSI. Now, this is a 2-fan version of the 4060. It does come with 8 gigs of RAM. It's also in white, which is a really cool thing for MSI to start producing. And I'm noticing this from a lot of different manufacturers. They're really starting to lean into this white internals.
Yeah, I like having these white options for video cards. Since this build is mostly white, this is gonna just look great and stay on theme.
Yep, absolutely. Looks good. Now, given the fact that it is a 2-fan, it's a lot shorter than some of the larger 3-fan models, but it's also probably not going to run nearly as hot. So my question is, when it comes to weight, how heavy is it? And what are our options for anti-sag devices, or will we even need one?
Yes, this is a relatively light card. It being a 4060, it doesn't have a lot of weight. And due to the length of it, since it's not very long, we won't be using an anti-sag device for this. Even if we installed one in the case, this card isn't long enough to take benefit from that.
You mentioned what is the system for the screwdriver? It's a ratchet screwdriver, so you can just keep turning it, and you can flip it one way or the other. So you can either you can do rotation forward or backwards, or just lock it completely. Yep. Yeah, ratchet screwdrivers. These are absolutely essential. My wrists would be dead if I didn't have one.
God, this thing's sick.
All right, now we're gonna pop this little guy in here. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous card.
So 8 power?
Yep, single 8-pin for our power connector on this card.
That's going to be a lot easier. Click. I still remember how satisfying that click was when I helped you build that over at Level Up Expo. You're like, here, put it in. Yay! And there's the click. Oh, yeah.
For 100,000 likes, Jason will make a video that's 100,000 RAMs getting clicked in. Won't we, Jason?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. just ASMR click videos. You hate the 4090 power connectors. So many cables in front of my case. Listen, that's a flex right there.
Yeah, when you got to run 4 8 pins.
I can't see on the fence that I'm a 4090. Well, somebody's lucky. I'm so sorry about the cables in front of your case, my dude.
It's so hard to figure out what to do with all this money.
All of these cool.
That connector is frustrating. The 4 8-pin dongle is frustrating.
Right? Wipes tears with hundos? Exactly. He's over here just with cash in hand, just
Pocket change.
so poor pudding. There we go. There we go. I did find out that there's apparently some updates coming for both the AMD and NVIDIA side that are going to be increasing the potential for frame rates from a software side with hardware for the upper 30 series and the 40 series cards, along with the FSR, the latest FSR update for the Radeons. Paul, do you know much about that at all?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that.
I was reading an article this morning. Well, this morning. I won't say what I was doing. You all know what I was doing. Because you got to read the news while you're doing it. Otherwise, why else did your dad take a newspaper in there with him? But that being said, it's interesting seeing, like, we're talking in at least for the FSR, like a good 70% increase on frames per second, which I was very intrigued on. So I will find out more. I will talk about it next week when you get back. Now, while he's tying that up, as a quick reminder, keep your eyes out for the codes here in chat because they are coming out on the green side. I know all the purple kids and the red kids are like, what? Why can't we have them? You'll get yours later, don't worry. Now, that being said, I will have a code for later on today on my stream. And then on Thursday, since we're not streaming, CLX isn't streaming here, I'll have a stream Thursday, and I'll throw out a biggie. I'll throw out well, actually, I only have 2 codes left. Doesn't matter. We're doing one today. We'll do one on Thursday, and then I'll be done. Oh, we got a codes. Sad Panda. And then I love James Alcott's comment. There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in baseball. One of my favorite scenes. Tom Hanks did such a great job with that role. A League of Their Own. God, that was funny.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Absolutely hilarious. There's no. That was a volleyball. Like what? What do you mean?
Oh, I thought he was.
They're making new chips. Oh yeah, they're making new chips for processors and graphics with new AI tech that's supposed to blow away everything out there. And by everything, you mean
all of the humanity. All of the automatons are rising.
Every man, I can't tell y'all. What up, Dante Bordy? Welcome in. I cannot tell y'all how many times I'm now at the point where because obviously I can still say it because it's still true. Battlestar Galactica is still on Prime Video. Yeah, gonna rewatch that again. But every time I look at it and think about the Cylons, I then think about the Terminators, and all I can think of is
he came back.
Did none of these nerds actually watch the sci-fi classics? Like, what? How do you? I don't know.
They did. That's how they got all their inspiration. They just didn't watch.
Right. Quick, let's try and make something that'll destroy the world.
They just didn't listen to Jeff.
AI finds a way.
Because we can doesn't mean we should. It's kind of like me when I was thinking about, look, there are places that I can grow hair on my head. One is like right here in the back. It grows in fairly good. So I was thinking of just growing it a little rat tail, you know, and just do a little lower back of the head braid.
Yes.
And both of my friends, when I said this, said, you know what's fun is decision making. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. And if you do, please understand, we will drug you, cut it off, and shave your head. I'm like, well, you could have just asked and said that looks terrible. It's like, no, you need to be traumatized. Like, thanks, Thomas. That helps. That helps a lot, bud. Good Lord. Nothing. Skullet?
Yeah. I forgot about Skullet. Oh, man. What? Yeah.
What word did I just hear?
A Skullet. It's like I think it's like the male pattern balding mullet. Oh, it's great.
It's like, yeah, if you got nothing on top, but if you got nothing on top, you've just got business in the back. Oh God, it's called a skullet. I never even heard that term before. That's absolutely amazing.
All right, Nicole, you heard it here first.
We're getting
For
Skullets.
300 gold, we can
Two Skullets.
Oh God, that is amazing. Gage Reddit says the irony is I just shaved my head also.
I hope you left it back.
Wow. The one thing I will say about it for those who are like, if you're thinking of shaving your head, or you're a guy who is shaving his head or is about to need to shave their head, everybody's got a different way that they do it that works. Mine ends up with no nicks, no cuts, and it's very smooth. I do mine every other day. But I use a Gillette Venus, the women's razor, and the Venus 5 blade has got this huge strip of the soft stuff, the like aloe, whatever it is, and it lasts so much longer than the men's razors, so much longer. And I don't have to I don't have to put shaving foam or anything. I just do it in the water, rub it with soap real quick to make sure I didn't miss anything, and then just whoosh, and then I'm done. And then fix any little spots, rinse it off, and it's good to go. Put a little lotion on. Cool.
And then you use peanut butter as your aftershave.
Get a hairy snack afterwards.
Good Lord. You got big beard, small hair? Wait. I've got big beard and small hair head. Walt Survivor. There we go. Should we be buying razors made for... Okay, Rurutu? I'm going to be very honest about this.
This is the episode. This is the episode from where Michael Scott is wearing a women's pantsuit.
Yeah.
Now you've got to consider this.
It works.
Men's razors are expensive because guys have to shave. Well, don't have to, but if you do, you've got to do it, and you've got to do it regularly, unless you're one of those people who is, borderline nubile in nature. The reason that women's razors last longer is because they're made from a different grade of metal or type steel, right? The other thing is you've got to consider that a woman's razor is designed for their legs and things. So it's coarser. It's designed to work for coarser hair, for longer. That thing's got to last through at least 2 to 4 shaves per leg, per leg before it finally dies. And if you think about that, we're talking about thin hair, fine hair up here. It's going to last forever. Plus, you've got that really cool strip of the softener, the skin softener, and there we go. So having done it with like a not a Gillette, what's the Mach? What is a Mach? It is a Gillette. I tried using Machs before. No. Plus, you've got these round spots on your head, and that razor tilts and flips and does all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, in my opinion, try it. Just try it. It'll be cheaper, I guarantee you that. But try it. If you don't like it, go back to whatever you're doing before. Now I can't use any straight razors on my face because I can't. I was never taught how to, and now every time I do it, I cut the living daylights out of myself, and I look like I got into a fight with a raccoon or a very mad little person with a machete.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yes. So, and I believe our TikTok is back up. Yeah. Here we are. Hello. I'm back. Violent Echo. You know, it started off, I think Paul did this to us. About his daughter wanting to shave her head.
Maybe that.
Somehow we got into a conversation about kids.
Okay.
And now we're talking about shaving our
and she's gonna be like, Dad, there's an outbreak of lice at school.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now if that happens, guess what? It's all over.
We're buying some peanut butter if that happens.
Peanut butter? Okay, I don't even want to know how that works.
That's what you do, right? I've never had lice.
No, you get lice away.
That
Stuff
stuff's
and
way
things.
too expensive. You just get a jar of creamy.
I thought you just filled your
Because it's
bathtub up with
medically
tomato soup and just hopped in that.
What kind of backwoods insanity is that? Are you serious?
No one's ever heard put peanut butter in your hair to get rid of lice?
No. First of all, let's start with this. How do you get enough tomato soup to fill a bathtub? Where exactly are you getting this small Datsun
Pizza Hut
pickup truck full of? Oh my God, that's pizza sauce, not tomato soup.
Thing.
It's the same
There's
stuff.
a difference.
Same thing.
It's not the same stuff.
I love heating up a big pot of pizza sauce. Pizza sauce and grilled cheese.
Oh God! Now who doesn't? Oh my goodness! Did anybody else get lice checks at school as a kid? Absolutely, and I never got it. My sister did. She was furious because she had I think her hair was down to her shoulder blades. And they were like, well, either I have to go through this really intense combing thing with this chemical stuff or you're going to have to shave your head. And she was furious.
I realized the
olive
peanut
oil
butter
and tea
thing
oil
is
is a
for
natural
gum.
way to get rid of it.
That's what it is,
Well,
isn't
the
it?
tomato,
Or you can-
the tomato stuff is for skunks.
Oh, okay.
And then there's also an oatmeal bath. I don't know what that's for. There's all these cool like farmer's almanac baths. And
Yeah.
you're like, what remedy does that solve?
Don't come to me with your lice problems. We're going to try a whole bunch of stuff that's not meant to
God.
Take a
work.
shot of here. Here's a spoon of whiskey.
Right?
Your fever gone?
David says that olive oil and tea tree oil is a natural way to get rid of it, or you can use ivermectin. Really? Somebody tell Robert Kennedy Jr. that?
Put your feet in the saltwater bath.
God, that was a joke that needed to have been made. All right, so now we're getting here and we're looking at this. This is looking great. And so, with that being said, you know what I want to show you that's going to be great, everybody? It's going to be how you can get your hands on one of these incredible PCs, custom made and designed by you and assembled by us. Let's head over to clxgaming.com. At clxgaming.com, we do our best to make sure that you not only know how to use your shaving products correctly, but also how you can get your hands on the perfect PC that is meant and designed to work exactly as you need it. Whether you're choosing a large, full-sized RAW, or whether you want something small like an ITX build, or somewhere in between, we've got a little bit of everything that you could possibly want. We carry AMD, we carry Intel, we've got NVIDIA, we've also got Radeon. We've got lots of different things in between, different styles, kinds, designs, shapes, and versions. And you don't have to worry about screwing anything up because we have a compatibility tool. Now that means that little green button up top is going to turn to yellow if you choose something that, I don't know, doesn't work. And the greatest thing that we can do is use it like this. If you've got a DDR5 board and DDR4 RAM selected, it's going to say like, nah, either you have to choose a DDR4 board or choose a DDR5 RAM. Once you've selected that and fixed it, it goes green again and you're back in the game. Now, you can choose anything from hard drives, extra hard drives, secondary hard drives. We've got different ways of cooling, whether or not you want to open loop or closed loop with an AIO. Whether or not you want to go and have it overclocked in the Foundry, that is overclocking for CPU, GPU, or both. You can upgrade your thermal paste for your AIO if you so choose. And then there's the accessories area. Not only can you get really cool t-shirts and jerseys, or not jerseys, and windbreakers in either gray, red, or purple. I like them all. You can also choose so many different other elements. If you're a content creator, we have capture cards. We have content creation devices like Beacn Mix Creates and Beacn Mics. And trust me, these are tools for the future. Love it. They're awesome. And we've also got everything else. Want headphones, speakers, want cameras? We got them. I almost said toasters, but that was a box. I don't know why. Every time I see a little box, I think toaster. But it's just the packaging. And that's this big giant wood box back here, which is sarcophagus, which are really, really cool. Chairs, routers, and more. So, while this may seem really, really, really over the top for like, I don't know if I can make all those decisions at once, don't worry. We have ready-to-ship models in our RTS area. Now, this means we've got systems that have already been built and tested in 4 different ranges. From entry-level to mid-range, high-range, and then ultra-high. You can see kind of what those combinations look like, so you can start basing how you want to build your PC if you want to do something personal. Now, if you'd really like to just grab something we've already built, don't worry. We stand by what we do, and it's going to be great. So for all of your future PC needs, whether it's gaming, video, audio, or more, head on over to clxgaming.com and see what we can do for you. Now, Paul, I mentioned the thing that I always mention at the very end just because I want to make sure people understand what they're getting. What's that? Where does it go? Where is this PC going to go once we're done?
Yeah, so once the system is built and powered on, it goes to our testing and integration department. So the first thing we do there is get into the BIOS of the machine, make sure all of our storage devices are showing up, so NVMe drives, hard disk drives if you've got them. And then we'll set our RAM speed, make sure that's set correctly. All right.
Keep going, I'm sorry.
You're good. So after the BIOS is set, that's when we load the machine. So your operating system, if you picked any games on our website, that's where we do that. If you didn't pick any games on our website, we just give you the fresh operating system. We don't put any bloatware on these PCs. And then once everything's been loaded, we put the system through a 12-hour burn-in or a stress test, and that makes sure everything is stable.
I'm dying over here. I'm dying. So what you guys, what anybody who does not over on the purple side didn't notice is that Mashin Shu said, how ironic is that at the very moment you guys started talking about these remedies, I was there spreading peanut butter on some saltine crackers. He's like, yep, now I'm not hungry.
Just a little
Onesie Gaming says,
things.
Right. Onesie Gaming says, I love my CLX PC so much that I got my kid a pre-built and she's loving it. Oh, Onesie, that is great.
Thank you.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
Great. We don't believe it unless it's on Discord.
There you go.
Yeah, put it on Discord. We actually have a channel, you guys. In the event that you want to just show us what your setup looks like, put it in there. It's great. So let's run back over one more time what's inside this amazing PC for our friend Emmanuel in California. This, of course, is a Horus NV5 mid-tower in white. It's got an Intel Core i5-13600KF processor on a Gigabyte Z 790 AORUS Elite ICE ATX board. It has 32 gigs of DDR5, 6000 RAM, and that beautiful MSI GeForce RTX 4060 Ventus. It's got a 2 terabyte operating system with a Samsung 990 Pro, and of course the processor's being cooled by a CLX Quench 360 closed liquid AIO cooler and 8 different Enermax HF120 fans with an 850 watt Game Dia's Helios P2 850G 80 plus gold. look at that, it looks so pretty.
Oh yeah,
I read it before you turned it on, didn't I? I went out of order.
Oh, no,
well, there's these fans have a delay, so Zach got it on, and
perfect.
that way it was.
So this is what I was talking about that I love about these fans specifically. They are very different than the other fans. There's just a different blend because the blades all light up. It's just cool.
Yeah, I like it.
I dig it a lot. All right, now we are, yes, we're doing, yes, we are. Okay, so this show today is happening in normal standard format. We're doing it in 2 parts. In just a moment, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, you're going to get to spend the afternoon with Zach as he continues building more amazing PCs. Now, don't forget, this show happens every Tuesday and Thursday, except this Thursday. It's not going to happen on Thursday. We won't be here Thursday. I will be on my channel, but we will not be here on Thursday. It always starts at 11 a.m. Pacific. That is 2 Eastern. You can find out more about where you can get codes and how to keep up on the latest and greatest with all things in our giveaways at our social media. That is YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at CLX Gaming. You can find us also on Discord at discord.gg/CLX Gaming. If you want to hit us up and watch our live shows, Tuesdays, we drop codes over on the Kick side, kick.com/CLX Gaming. And on Thursdays, except for this Thursday, it's twitch.tv/CLXgamingtv. Don't forget, we're not streaming on Thursday. Just in case I didn't mention that already. Now, we did see a final code that Ivory gave out. It's BMIC-IRKL, like I really know life. That's what it stands for. That is the final code on the green side. We'll have codes later on today on my channel. Plus, we've got more builds. So, on behalf of Kyle and Jason in production, Paul and Zach, I'm DJ Blue PDX. Don't go away. We got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Perfect. What is up, Scooby Gang? I hope everybody is having a fantastic day to a pretty weather-filled weekend. It was super fun. We had a blast. I married the most beautiful, lovingly lady ever, and it was awesome. Thank you guys so much for the congratulations. I hope you've had a fantastic week. I've got a pretty fun build for us today. We are going to be installing, I'm going over parts this way, it makes it more interesting. I have with me today an Intel i7 12700KF. The K means yes, we can overclock. The F means nope, we don't do any graphics here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shout them out. Ask me, let me know. I will do my very best to get them answered. It looks like the AORUS code is going to be coming out sometime this week. So if you guys want to follow AORUS, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, those would be pretty good ones. Updates on replace AIOs. Nice. Is it working pretty well? Is it staying cool? This Intel i7 is going to be mounted in an ASRock Z690M Phantom Gaming 4. We're going to be doing 8 gigabytes of memory on a 4060 by PNY. We have a 750 Kratos. Nice, that's sick. I am super happy about that you were able to get that up and going. And it worked. Only 6 hours? That's not bad. Yes, 750 watt power supply. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. M2 White Edition Game DS fans. I really enjoy those. They are very clean. And all of my baggies. I like all of my baggies. I have a Kingston 2 terabyte NVMe, all of the speeds. And then we have 64 gigabytes of 3600 megahertz. So these are 32 gigabyte sticks apiece. Pretty nice memory modulars. And all that will be chilled off with one of our new white 360 liquid coolers. I really like that one. You know what? This is easy to open up. We'll just open this up now. He was terrified of screwing something up. You know what? That's how you know you do good work. If you're afraid of it, you're not gonna do anything to mess it up. Alrighty, 750 watts, non-modular. 8 gigabitties of video memory on this bad boy. Boop. He had you on FaceTime? Hey, that is good. I remember my first full build that I did solo. I left the Windows installation disk in. I didn't know I was supposed to remove it. I left it in for like 3 boots before my mom was like, maybe we should just remove the disk and see what happens. And then it kept going past that screen, so you know, it worked somehow. Sometimes you just need that special person to walk over and be like, oh yeah, it's working now. Don't forget to peel off all of the invisible clear peels. That's how you unlock all of the frames per second. Damn, what's with the 4060s? Is that a high wanted card? Well, Everything that we have built and that we usually try to build on a fairly consistent basis is a customer picked computer. I like building what you guys like buying, so that's I'm just building what the people buy. Lots of people like the NV5. Lots of people like the Phantom gaming boards. There's lots of parts out there that lots of people like. That's what makes them well configured, is because all the parts work pretty good together, and it makes it a pretty good solid machine. Where's my pages? MATX, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. This model of a motherboard, our Z690, does come in 2 different variations. We can get a full-size ATX board, or we can do an MATX. So I just wanted to give a discount double check. I/O shield. You guys just saw me playing with that HDMI fold-over tab. That's always needed for any tabs that stick up. These little spring ones are okay. It's mainly those big ones that can go back into the port. Then we're going to want to take our I/O shield and open up our processor box. Yes, the more frames, the more better. Yeah, that was back in the good old days of Windows 7. That computer is no longer with me today because of Windows 10. Sad panda. Okay, this is our processor. One thing that I always enjoy doing when opening up a motherboard is I will double check my pins. I can get them in a real nice light, like right there. We can see that bottom L, we would definitely be able to tell if there was a bent pin there. And then that 7 on the top is super shiny right there. We would definitely be able to tell if there was a bent pin. So we are good to install our processor. Processors are keyed. Every processor has a key on it. I would love to have a older Windows reboot just like 7. I don't know why I haven't had my uncle set one up for me, but that's how my uncle's system is every operating system he has owned. He's 75 years old, by the way. Every operating system he has owned, he still has that hard drive, and he just has a quick release hard drive bay, and whatever operating system he wants to play with or what game he wants to play, that he'll just change OS drives, and he's up and running. He's got a Linux one, Windows 7, Windows 10, and some older like 97, 98. But all processors have a key to them. Our Intel chips are a little bit more rectangular than our AMD square chips, but everything can only go in one direction. It can only be installed one way. So our key on this Intel 12th gen chip is in the bottom left-hand corner if I'm reading the letter or reading the lines. And then on my processor cap for the motherboard, there's a little triangle in the bottom corner, and some motherboards that'll be silk screened onto the PCB as well. So we just want to be careful on dropping that in. Usually a corner first is hopeful, and then remove your cap. If you're building at home, I recommend keeping your motherboard cap and the little clamshell that comes with, or that your processor came in, just in case if you have any troubleshooting or anything that you have to pull that out. It's always nice to be able to cover it up securely afterward so it doesn't get damaged. Alrighty. We just came home from what's the good one? Radio Shack, and we picked up a sweet all-in-one liquid cool kit from any company. It will come with a nice all-in-one liquid cooler, and then it will come with mounting kits for multiple different options. Those options are going to be AMD and Intel. Then on the AMD side, we have our AM4, AM5, and Threadrippers. Those are all a different kit. And then on our Intel side, we will have our 115X, 2066. Right now we're on 1700. But they are all different, being 10th gen, 13th gen, Intel Extreme. All of those are going to use a different retention kit, so we want to make sure that we use the correct kit for it. If we use the wrong one, it can cause some bad damage, or it might just not even turn on because it doesn't fully make connection. So again, this is the 1700 kits, and this is for 12th, 13th, and 14th generation so far. Is that all? Windows 7 is not supported anymore. I don't know about Windows 7 as much anymore. It was probably my favorite Windows. Okay, so we have our standoffs on with our all-in-one liquid cooler that we have right here. We do have pre-applied thermal paste. Going to go ahead and attach my lock ring, and then we can just set that down on. Tools back in the bag. And just like Dad taught us when installing the spare tire after we have a blowout, you do not go around the tire. Just like this, we do not go around the processor. We want to jump back and forth. And go from that corner to this corner down here. Then we're going to bounce up, and then we're going to come back down. This helps to apply even pressure across the processor. When it comes to hiding your cable to plug in your heat distribution source, because a heat sink and a liquid cooler are both going to require a fan header to be plugged into, I like kind of tucking my cable underneath these posts. I'm not pulling it tight to get it up against the processor. I want it just hidden to where we don't have to see this cable go like that. Yeah, that's kind of hard to see, but do you see this one at all compared to this one that's just wrapped around? It looks a lot better. It looks a lot cleaner. More pretty. That's what the customer said. That's what the top of the sheet says, is more pretty. Like, okay. More pretty means more pretty. So we'll just gingerly hide those, not actually tuck those under, and then I can plug RGB and fan header in. And then what I want to do now is wrap my cable to the back side, not pulling excessively heavily as to cause any damage. We just want our extra cable to be able to sit freely on the back. There we go. Does that melt the cable? No, it does not. Okay, let's look at this real quick. So, one, I will just have this set right here. It's not going to cause any damage to it. This is where damage is caused. I take this piece of metal and I set that metal on there, and then I plug stuff into it. What is happening is the rubber housing, the plastic housing of the cable acts like the standoffs do for the case. So there's not going to be any electrical charge through there unless the cable has a little nick in it and then can make contact too. So as long as we don't grind those cables up against the edge or anything like that, that should be good. I also like kind of doing that, and then I did it on the previous build where I just kind of tucked that up. It doesn't actually sit behind the motherboard. It goes up outside with all of the other cables. Okay. And let's do this. Memory modulars. This is a 32 gigabit stick. If we were only having one stick, we would populate our second slot. But because we have 2 sticks, we are going to populate our second and fourth slot. We do not want to populate 1 and 2. Because the way it is set up in the BIOS is it'll read lane 2 first, and then it reads lane 2 and 4, and then it reads 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 3 configurations for the 4 bays that we have here. We can have 1 stick in bay 2, we can have 2 sticks in bay 2 and bay 4, or we can have 4 sticks in 1 through 4. AORUS codes will be on AORUS's socials this week. Trust me, if I had an AORUS code, you all would for sure have it by now. Well, that's crazy. All I know is that there are carbon codes. Those are the codes I have right now. And that was our NVMe. NVMe's are very super fast to install. They are keyed, just like our memory, just like our processor. Okay. And now for the fun part of this build, because I just remembered we're doing one of those bad boys. So this is going to go this way, because we're inverting. Okay, so I will go ahead. Now snag the case. Dun dun dun. Okay, not that one, this one. Introducing the 011 Dynamic Evo in white. This is a modular case. So just like our modular power supplies, we can kind of pick and choose what we want. So with this case right now, the way it comes set up to you, I'm going to point it toward the camera. And then I'm going to kind of turn around a little bit because I need to get my reference. Okay, so imagine I'm sitting at a gaming desk, bam, looking at my computer. This is sitting on the left side of my desk so that I can look at it. The factory setup is it's on the left side of your desk. If you want it inverted, like what we're going to do now, it would be on the right side of your desk. Oh yeah, see, that's why I have to turn around. Okay, yes, thank you, Jason, thank you. Okay, so the factory, thank Jason, saved the day. So the factory setup, because I keep mine on the left, it's weird. The factory setup is on the left. If we invert it, then it would go onto the right side of your desk. And everything would be upside down. Looks very cool. This case has a lot more features than most people know. I'm usually finding out something new that I either didn't know or kind of knew, just didn't really know how to do every time I read the manual, because the manual it shows inverting, it shows like if you want to buy a graphics card mounting kit, you can change the way the graphics card is mounted in here, but we just invert and build the normal one. And I thoroughly enjoyed this case based on the size of it, because it's big enough to where we can store maximum gear. We can have 360 liquid coolers. We can have 3 fan, 3 slot graphics cards. They are all fitting. It just has a little bit of a setup, which is not bad. But if you've not done it, this is all the fun parts that this case comes with. So I want this and this. And you can see I left quite a bit in there, and that's a lot in that box. Okay. We've got our silver hardware, and we have our name badge. Go out there with that. This goes here. Giveaway. All right. So to invert the case, we will read the book, and the book will tell us all of the things that need to change so that we can invert it. As you can see, I'm unscrewing stuff and getting rid of it as I don't need it.